Hello,
Hello,
I'm Wayne Anthony,
and I'm Jude Savage.
and welcome to our podcast,
Quest.
The Search for Truth.
And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing,
It's ladies' choice, so what are we going to be discussing, Jude?
well, the soul partners, twin
okay.
flames, reincarnation,
The system of the soul, and all that
of
jazz.
those things and all that jazz. Ooh.
It's a complicated subject matter, though, isn't it? When you kind of go online and you look at what everyone's talking about, whether it's twin flames or soul partners or reincarnation, the system of the soul is, the system of the soul is how the soul has arrived where we are, and whether it's just vast, and I get very bogged down. There's a lot of heavy horsemen out there when it comes to people talking about, but we can only go from experience. We can only go from what I can only go from what I'm taught, and I know that you can only go from what you're taught. Yeah, we've added to that over the years, and it's interesting. So I think when it comes to the system of the soul, because we're going to call it that, you need to adopt into your psyche, your views on things, what you feel is comfortable, what sits comfortably with you. Don't you think?
Because we never try and force things upon you. You have to, in our quest search for truth, we always like to say, look, here is where we're coming from, and you have to take that away and say what you believe in.
So I think what we try to do is present you with the evidence,
yes.
And this is a theory, and that is a theory, and that is a theory, and you need to adapt that into your belief system if you want, if for want of a word, if you find it comfortable, if it sits well in your soul.
Yeah, that's a good lead into this topic, isn't it?
I think that's how it has to be.
So I think first of all, twin flames and soul partners.
We're going to get in so much trouble.
I think we might, but I think it's interesting.
And also, do we care? Do we?
No, it's all our opinion, isn't it?
You do you.
Yeah, exactly. So loads of people go, firstly, they interchange the two, don't they?
Yeah.
Twin flame is a soul partner, partner is a twin flame, and all of this. No. Don't believe that at all. So
let's just say
twin flames.
Let's go with it, because
yeah.
we know what twin flames are. Twin flame is something that comes into your life and you believe they are your soul partner.
Yes.
You believe that is the love of your life, that your life is complete, that you are whole with that person, that you are one. And nothing else, nobody else will do.
It's incredibly intense, isn't it?
There is an intensity, a passion, a want, a desire, and a need with that person, and they make you feel alive, very alive. And then it goes wrong. And then you're not compatible, or you don't necessarily agree on things, or they have issues that they have to deal with. Whether it's their life beyond the life that they had with you with somebody else, or whether that's an addiction, or whether that's their family, or ex-lovers come into that, but it just doesn't seem to work. And you pour your love into this, don't you? You pour your love unmeasurably into this relationship, believing that this is the one for you. It's not a soul partner, it's a twin flame. And also that twin flame may also be going out of your relationship and having sexual relationships with other people, which is in itself, for most, a dagger to your heart, because you don't want that. You think that is the person for you, but you make all kinds of excuses for them, don't you? They've come from a place of trauma, they've had a bad childhood, they were adopted and haven't adjusted to being loved. But whatever it is, we make excuses, and then it ends. Yeah. And that ends you. Yeah. You feel that you can't and will never, ever meet somebody like that you will never love again, that you will never be with somebody like that again. And you think, what? Some people go into a trauma phase where they want to be by themselves and they never want to be with anybody else, and they believe that person is for them, and they wait around. They think that person's going to come back. But really, what a twin flame does is they come to teach us a lesson. We have to learn something from it. We have to learn about whether that's desire or want, or how to control our own feelings of need. And when we've learnt that, when we've truly learnt that, I believe, I don't know about you, Jude, we then go on to meet our soul partner.
Yeah, and there's that people talk about that in the podcasts and things that I've read where I agree with them. They talk about twin flames, this intensity and this back and forth, and sometimes they'll call it like the runner and the chaser. And like, you know, one person's constantly chasing and craving that other one, and the other one is like running away from them, and then like they'll think, well, I can't do this anymore, and then that's the point where they get hooked back in because they think, well, I can't do this again, so they step back, the chaser steps back, and then the runner goes, oh no, you don't, only you can understand me. Yes, I've been with all of these other people behind your back, but you know, it was a mistake, and I actually I can't live without you, and then you're drawn back in again. And lots of people go through that cycle of this constant, but they're not giving you what a soul partner gives you, which is that ease of that relationship. You know, don't get me wrong, all relationships need to be worked on. Of course they do. Of course they do. Nothing in life is easy, okay? But the twin flame thing, it's that intensity, and it's this, and like you said, they leave you feeling completely broken,
gutted, like
you could never love again. And lots of people feel that they can't move on because there's still that craving there, and it's like, oh, how will I ever learn to love again?
But there are so many links to this, isn't it? To narcissists and empaths. The empath and the narcissist is a kind of very similar story, whereas the narcissist will take and the empath will give. But you have to remember something in this life, in this world, you can't heal people. You can't save people. It's up to them to save themselves. You're not responsible for anybody else. You're responsible for your children, absolutely. And there are things that you're responsible for until, you know, your children will get to a certain age, and you're not really responsible for them anymore. And so you have to kind of, there's a point where you get to, I think, with twin flames, where it's either you or me.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm going to save me because I can't save this.
Yes.
So I need to step back from this. And then there are people that say, you know, they've met their twin flame, and it was usually at the bus stop 14 years ago on a rainy morning, and they spoke to them for 2 seconds. There's some crazy people out there that think that, you know, they had this one-off contact with somebody at a bus stop, at a meeting, you know, on a train somewhere. There's some bizarre stories out there. That's just
sort of a lust thing, I think, isn't it?
That's passion and lust, basically. And, you know, passion arrives very, very quickly, and it leaves very, very quickly as a rule as well. So soul partners and twin flames, for me, are very, very different things. A soul partner comes and they fulfill you in many ways. You've got the friendship with them, you've got the love, you've also got the passion, you've got the desire, you've got the sexual attraction as well. You've got the respect. Tiny, huge word in a relationship, which most relationships lack if you look around you. And also you've got the friendship as well, which is actually, if you look at most partners, I think over 50%, they're not friends. They're partners, but they're not friends. Half the time they don't even like each other, do they?
They're just together because they've been together since the dawn of time, or whatever.
Mortgage, because of the house, because of the kids, or lost souls in a way, waiting. But that'll change. You know, some make it through. Some people meet at 17 or 18 and stay together for a lifetime. Some people meet at 17 or 18 and stay together for a few weeks, you know. But, you know, you've got to ask yourself, when it comes to soul partners and twin flames, whichever you decide is yours, what you're gaining from it. Because, you know, it is all, even a soul partner is a lesson. People also talk about soul connections, don't they? Now, are these different to a soul partner? Like, can you have like a very good friend who you consider you have a soul connection to? Absolutely.
Is that a form of a soul partner? But, I mean, it's different.
The thing is with soul connection, it's like soul sister or soul brother or soul pet, if you like. You can feel that connection with an animal. You can feel that connection with a cat or a dog or a budgie or, you know, a cockatiel. The difference is with the soul partner. I think the soul partner makes you feel complete. It makes you feel like you need no other thing, that you've got everything. How can I improve this? You can't, because you've got everything. And they make you feel valid, as I think is really, really important, which is an important word, because, you know, validation you don't get necessarily from a twin flame. Twin flames are painful, I always think.
Very painful, I think, and they seem to like bring out, I don't know, I've heard a lot of people say, you know, I felt that this was a twin flame thing because I didn't like the person I became.
they
being with
created,
them.
yeah.
You know, that they're creating when I'm with them, but yet I have this intensity that I want to be able to, and I'm like, you can't, like, exactly like you said, you
Yeah.
can't save this person.
No,
It's
and
not-
my father once said to me, one of the hardest words you will ever have to learn and say and mean is goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's what the twin flame brings. There will come a point, and trust me, there will come a point when you stand and you think, I can't do this, I can't stay in this anymore, this is killing me, this is destroying me.
Yeah, I can't put myself through this.
I won't put myself through it anymore. And you
Yeah.
have to say goodbye.
Yes.
And mean it.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest word you will ever have to learn
And
in that
stay
circumstance.
goodbye as well. Don't go back into it.
Don't go back into
Yeah.
it. Don't enter back into that energy,
Yeah.
because that energy will destroy you. It'll just take you down that road again, basically, with loads of false promises, etc. And that person will never change. You're not for them. They're not your soul partner. But trust me, I promise something better is coming.
Yeah.
You just can't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the human heart does what?
Well, it goes back to what it thinks is its last best memory.
Yeah. And
So-
it wants what it knows, and it knows what it wants. It
Yeah.
will not negotiate with you in any way, shape or form. It wants what it knows,
Yeah.
and it knows what it wants.
Until it finds something that it really knows. It's like, oh, and then it forgets. And that's when you can, well, I don't think it forgets completely, because I think you always have that.
My mother used to say
there,
the human
but I
heart is
think,
only capable of holding so much love at any
Yeah,
one time.
oh, that's a really good way of putting
And
it.
it can't hold any more love. Its capacity is that, like a glass,
Yeah,
until something else is offered to it, and then the old love will be cast away,
Yeah.
and the new love will fill the heart. You got to think of the heart as a toilet.
well, you got to flush it away.
You got to flush it when when the new love comes. That flush comes,
Yeah.
or love's first flush, as it is known in the tarot deck that we've talked about. And the old love will be flushed away, and a new love will consume it. So, like, that's a toilet. So something fresh coming in, and all old stuff being flushed away.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way.
Did you notice my hands there? I was doing the universal symbol
Used
for flush.
For flush and the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that would have been different with that, yeah.
Well, no, it's definitely that. I didn't even do the noises, did I? So love's first flush, so love will be flushed away, but your heart won't recognise that or see that, or refuse to recognise that.
Yeah.
It'll be like, no.
Exactly. So, the soul itself, people talk about the age of the soul, don't they? Old souls
Yeah,
and
they
new
do talk
souls.
about that, don't they, quite a lot.
In fact, they talk about more about old souls than they do new souls.
Yeah, like there's something wrong with new souls,
Yes.
but there isn't
No.
anything wrong.
No, lots of people take offence if you go, I think you're quite a new soul. They're a bit like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? Do you think I'm stupid? I'm not.
But can a new soul or an old, we're going to talk about new, intermediate, and old souls. But
Yeah.
a new soul, for want of a word, a fresh soul, a newish
Yes.
soul, a fresh soul. Can it become an old soul in one lifetime?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think it can. Can you learn so much that the soul develops very, very quickly? So the theory was, and we'll get to Plato.
Oh, Symposium, is it, or something?
Yeah, you've read. Go and read the Symposium. We'll see you in a couple of months.
Well, yeah.
And if you understand it,
It's
let us know,
not falling asleep.
because that'll be fascinating. And you'll understand bits of it. But in the beginning,
In the beginning.
so my grandmother talked about the system of the soul, and that souls were brought into creation at different times for different reasons, and no one knows why. And what she used to say is there was the golden age of souls, the sylvine age of souls, and the emerald age of souls. And this is where the oldest of souls came from. This is a mad Irish woman who ran after she had 3 brandies. But there's a lot of truth in what she said.
Okay.
And so young souls are brought into creation, and no one knows why souls are brought into creation. But again, there's all this thing about a big battle took place and souls were created, and that, Plato kind of says that we were cast down and bound in flesh. No, tell the story.
Oh gosh. Was like some people say, is it
In the time before man,
oh god, there's this
there existed
all
in the
these
universe
these different beings.
that were without want or need,
Yeah.
for they were whole and they were complete.
Yeah. And then
Needed no other thing to exist, for they were perfection.
and then the gods got jealous
The gods of that time became jealous of that unity,
and split them.
divided those souls,
Yeah.
cast them down, bound them in flesh.
Yeah.
And those souls continue to walk this world, seeking to find that which they were divided from.
Yeah. So
Humans.
hence the fact that we are constantly, or people say we're constantly searching for our course, other part of us.
And that's why we ask when we meet somebody new that we're fairly attracted to, are you the one? The one I've been looking for.
Dun, dun,
dun. And that's Plato in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Apart from they had like loads of legs and loads of arms and they spun around and rolled around the world.
Yeah.
But that's the story for another time.
Yeah, and androgynous beings or whatever.
Well, they were androgynous without want or need, and they were, they were neither male nor female. But perhaps when they divided them, became more male and became more female. Who knows? But that's the philosophy of part of the system and the soul.
Yes.
Yeah. So why were they brought into existence? No one knows. But you do get younger souls, intermediate souls, and old souls.
Okay.
And souls are brought to this world for one, if not more, of three reasons, which are
to teach, to observe, or to learn, or
all three,
a combination, or whatever.
Combination, yeah. And you can learn very, very quickly, or you can learn slowly. And if you don't learn, then you're supposedly going to come back.
You're going to be sent back again.
Yeah. So the older you get, or the more lives you live, according to reincarnation, or some theories on reincarnation, is that all those lives that you've led, you've fed the soul, you've taught the soul that this is wrong and this is right and this is, I'm going to say morally, because what's morally right for one culture isn't for another, but you've morally kind of learnt these things, and so you feed the soul through all these lifetimes, all this information. Now an old soul in this world, where we are today, doesn't need to feed their soul that information anymore. They need to listen to what the soul, because it's already taught, the soul's been taught. So in your last incarnation, supposedly, the soul needs to tell you what to do.
Okay.
So you need to learn to listen.
Okay.
So the old soul will listen to what the soul is telling them. Like, you've played this scene before, you've had this situation before, you need to react like this, and you need to act like that, and you need to say this. And that's how we learn.
Okay.
And should you succeed in doing that, you don't have to come back to this crappy world ever again. You're released.
Liberated.
You move on to the next.
Is that one
place.
Like people talk about Nirvana and?
Yeah, Nirvana is a spiritual place, isn't it? Because it's a universal symbol. If anybody listening right now, Jude's making wavy
universal sign for Nirvana, not the band.
No, not the band. Shangri-La. It's got different names in different cultures. But the next place, which is this spiritually enlightened place. Yeah. Absolutely. So. Will you get there?
Me, personally?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know whether I'm going to be sent back.
I think I'll come back there. Do you want to come back to this?
No. I think I've been sent back already. I don't know. Do you think I have?
What, you got to the other side?
No, do you think I've been sent back?
Get back.
Get back in the sea.
Back, demon. I cast you back.
I don't know. I feel like I've been here before several times and maybe I've still not learned.
Well,
I don't know.
You have to ask yourself the key thing, what you need to learn.
Yes. Yeah.
But that goes back also to the soul word, doesn't it? My father used to say every soul that comes to this world needs to learn a word.
A word, yeah.
And that word, you need to go through life, you need to find your word. And I used to say to my dad, well, is it this? No. Is it that? When you're like 12 or 13. No. Go to all. Is it this? Is it no? Is it patient? No. And then not long before he died, I went to him and I said, I know what it is. And he was like, what are you on about? Looking at me like I was a madman. And I said, I know my word. And he went, what? What? And I said, it's tolerance. And he went, yeah.
And have you learned it?
That's exactly it. And a couple of weeks later, he'd passed away. And to this day, that was 30, 40, is that 40? 40 years ago. Yeah, 40 years ago. I still haven't learned that word because I have no tolerance for certain situations, nor will I ever. So I might have to come back.
Don't know.
Again.
Maybe. I don't know what mine is. I think mine might be patience, but I don't know whether it is or not.
It could be. Only you can find your word. And you guys out there that are listening, only you can find your word. Yeah. Find your word. Is it patience? Is it tolerance? Is it compassion? Is it beauty? Is it self-love? Is it self-love? Hyphenated to one word. Is it self-love? Is it appreciation? There's so many words it could be. You need to find your word. Yeah. Because when you find your word, it will tell you who you are, what you need to. Yeah, I'm still not sure yet. Maybe that's why I'm still here. Maybe I'm hoping I find it. It's a hard word to find.
It is, because like I think, I thought it was patience, and I think no, I'm quite patient in lots of
I
situations,
think
and then
you're
I'm
patient.
not in others. So maybe it's not that. Maybe it's something different.
Well,
Anyway,
I think only you can find a word.
yeah. Otherwise, I'll be sent back.
But I still don't have tolerance. I really, no, there are people. No, just no. You know, people come up to me and they're like, I've got a splint. I'm like,
No.
So chop your hand off. Why would I? I'm not interested. It's too banal.
Now, souls. Sorry, we're moving on to the
Moving
next
on.
thing.
Move along.
Do you think there are some people who don't have much soul or any soul?
Oh, quantitative souls.
souls.
Yeah, interesting theory. I'm kind of leaning towards this as being a big believer that souls, its capacity of soul, isn't it? So, do some people have less amount of soul? So, if soul worked between 100% and 100% soul being a spiritually enlightened soul, because I look at people, I think you've got like 3% soul.
Yeah. You will do this too. You will look at some people and you'll be like, there is nothing there.
No, they're just like, what was the word for it? The bio...
Oh, it's something, yeah. I know what you're trying to say and it's not there. But yeah, some kind of like, almost like robotish.
Yeah, just a robot. Just people with a soul. Do you ever look at people and think, why are you here?
Yeah.
What purpose do you serve?
Frequently.
Apart from annoying people. Or, just what? What purpose do you serve? Why?
And then the opposite of that, the opposite of that, sometimes you meet people who you think you are full of soul.
Fabulous people,
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about whether they're lords of a manor or tramps on the street, because you'll often find the
something
tramp
that
of the street has more capacity of soul than the lord of the manor, the lady of the manor. It's quite bizarre, and I'm constantly surprised by that. So as a theory, just quantities of soul, I'm kind of going to go with that.
Because you would think that everything that is living, and that's not just us, so like trees, plants, animals.
I'm a mystic, so
so there's life in everything, and then therefore is there some form of soul in everything as well.
I remember being a kid, and I was in the kitchen, and I went into the kitchen to my mum, and something had bothered me, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was something about an abattoir, but anyway. I said, Mummy, do animals have souls? And she said, she looked away, she was at the sink, and she looked away, and shuffled. I can remember now, she was very uncomfortable. She didn't want to answer the question. Because she'd come from, unlike my father, she'd come from a very strong Catholic background in Ireland, whereas my father was more animistic, still Irish, but was less belief in the church, more belief that God was in everything. Animistically, God was all around us. Everything was animated by God. And she kind of shuffled and did this uncomfortable thing. And I was upset about something. I think it was an animal dying. And I said, Mummy, do animals have souls? And she kind of stopped what she was doing, and she turned and she looked at me and she said, in the Catholic belief, she said, no, they don't. I said, so do they not go to heaven? Because this is a child trying to understand. And she said, no, I don't think they do, son. And I refused to accept that. I thought it hurt. I was like, why can't they go? So why can't they go to heaven? Aren't they as good as us then? Or I think it was the cat that died. Actually. Okay. Monty, the cat was called. And it just upset me. I just didn't understand it. And then I went to my dad and I said, Pappy, do animals go to heaven? Because Mummy said they don't. And he said, yeah, why wouldn't they? And I said, well, Mummy said they don't because the church and that. He went, oh, you don't want to be listening to that. He said, they know nothing. He said, but what I will tell you is that animals have shared souls, son.
Oh, okay.
And I said, well, what's that? And he went, well, like bits of many souls making one soul. So it might be like, and this was a theory, obviously I'm not telling you to adopt this, but he was trying to explain to a child, me. He said, well, maybe 5 cats and a dog make one soul. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
2 budgies and a parrot make one soul. So what he was trying to say, because animistically you believe that there was many souls can make. Souls don't need to be one thing.
Okay.
They can be. We're talking about soul partners and 2 people being, 2 halves of one. Why can't 9 pieces of something be one?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a theory, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting.
But I found comfort in that.
Yes.
I found comfort in the fact. I still don't understand it to this day, by the way. But I think what he was trying to teach me is like, don't be confined to thinking that, no things don't, this doesn't go to heaven, that doesn't go to heaven, this, whatever heaven is, by the way, the next place, the spirit world. So it was quite interesting. So there's many theories of the soul, and I think the split soul is a good theory. I can go with that.
Yeah. But I mean, do you think that applies to people as well, where they've only got a little bit of soul in them?
Maybe they're shared souls, or I still think with humans it's capacity.
Yeah.
So I look at some people and I think,
why are you here?
I'd love to stick my toe up your hole because you're annoying me. Because you have about as much compassion as an understanding about the situation.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
And I'm like, wherein was it that you lost any compassion as a human?
Yeah.
They step over people that fall down, and I'm not talking about bystander apathy where somebody falls down from a heart attack and everybody keeps moving around them and continuing because they think somebody else is going to deal with it. You know what I mean, guys. You know what I mean out there. Listen, you look at some people sometimes and you think, why?
Yeah.
What?
And this applies in relationships as well, I think. And they're like, and this is why when we're talking about you can't change people, you can't save people.
No, you can't.
People are showing you who they are.
They will always show you who they are.
And you're like, why don't you believe them? They're showing you who they are.
You can't save people. No. You want to, because that's your good nature. You want to save them. You want to fix them. You want to heal them. You want to make them better, and you want them because you love them. You've fallen in love with them, but you can't. Trust me, you can't. Don't try.
No, and you talked about like empaths and narcissists and all that. And I know like loads of people use the term narcissist very freely, and it's overused. There are very few people, in my opinion, who actually have narcissistic personality disorder. But I think a lot of people can display narcissistic tendencies.
Opportunistic. I think if you're going to be opportunistic, if you're going to give to somebody this, that, and the other, and be there and help them, and give them money or give them love or listen to them or give them advice, then people are opportunistic. They're going to take that from you. You've got to love yourself enough not to put yourself through the pain. It's as simple as that. You've got to step back and you've got to go, you know what, you or me. And it's going to be you, because you can't keep throwing love into this big hole when there's no return from it. Basically, you can't keep pouring your love into situations that give nothing back. And people will say, well, you shouldn't give to receive. Really? Yeah, you should actually.
Well, because you're just drained otherwise.
Yeah, you should.
And there are people out there, and they do exist. Decent, yes, they're few and far between, but those decent people do exist. And that's when we talked about finding your soul partner, because that give and take, and like we said, relationships are about compromise, they are about respect, they are about working through things, but you're getting that back. As much as you're giving, they are giving too.
Yeah. So the difference is a narcissistic.
Yes. Yeah.
A narcissistic twin flame, because they all have those tendencies. We're going to let's use that phrase. We'll take, and give. They may throw you crumbs, but it will be crumbs. Breadcrumbing to keep going along that
love
pathway.
Bombing as well.
And love bombing, when they feel that everything else is failing, they will bomb you with chocolates and sweets and flowers and everything that's wonderful and marvelous, and you'll be told that as well. But
there's nobody like you, and nobody can love me like you do, and all of those things. Yes.
Oh, please stop already. You know what? Get a hold of yourself. Ask yourself, what are they giving to you, and is that equal? Is there an equal balance to that? If they text you 3 times, you text them once. If then they text you 2 times, you text them 3 times. What are you getting? Is there a fair exchange?
Fair exchange.
I think we're going to be talking about fair exchange when it comes to twin flames and soul partners, because your soul partner will tell you every day usually that you're beautiful and that you're gorgeous or that you're handsome or that you're valid. A twin flame will only take.
Exactly.
They're not your soul partner.
No, and don't be taken in by all of those things, because like what is love, your description of love. They might say, I love you. Well, what does love mean to them? Okay, because their definition of love is not necessarily the same as your definition of love.
You can't pour your love into something with nothing in return, because you'll just become drained. So you've got to get that back. And you shouldn't, to give is not to take. Oh, stop.
Yeah, it's exactly what you just said. Like, you should just keep you should just keep giving. You should just keep, because you're a good person. No, you can still be a good person and tell people to F off. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't mean you're a bad person. You can still be a good person and say, this does not serve me, this is not healthy for me. You're still a good person.
I'm not getting back from this, what I'm putting into it. Nobody's saying you should.
No.
But you need to get something back. No deposit, no return in this life.
Yeah, exactly.
Put something down on it if you want something from it. That's how it is. There's an exchange taking place. It's an energy exchange. It's a love exchange. Otherwise, you're going to feel starved.
Yeah.
You're going to feel very, very starved, really, as a twin. And that's what twin flames do. They starve you, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll look at them, and there'll come a time, trust me, you're going to look at that person, you're going to think it's either you or me. And you'll choose you.
Yeah.
And all these sites that are going on about twin flames and how to deal with twin flames, they're just messing with your head.
Yeah, there's so much out there that's so confusing and just wrong.
Because let's get it straight, anything that ever loved you will never ever want to cause you pain.
No.
They'll make, and that's what twin flames do. They make excuses. Oh well, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry that did, because I've got this going off. You know what? Or my pet caterpillar died when I was 9.
Oh yeah, they're trying to make you feel sorry
that's
for
why I
them.
didn't tell you I loved you on your birthday or bought you any flowers. No.
Oh well, I only did that because I was drunk, or I only did that because of this, and I only did it now. So
Yeah,
you're
I only
still
slept
doing
with your
that.
3 best friends
Yeah.
because a fly landed on my marmalade sandwich.
Yeah. Or I only did that because you made me.
Oh yeah, that's the classic. You made me do that.
You made
It's
me
all
do
your
that.
fault. And then they'll revert to help me, I'm so damaged. They'll do anything. They'll twist your manners as much. That's not a soul partner. A soul partner will never treat you in that way ever.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think people are just blinded because they fancy them because they look attractive and they look
All
marvellous.
the passion is passionate, isn't it? You twin flame. You're passionate towards. You're sexually aroused by them. You fancy the hell out of them. They push buttons in you that have never been pushed before. And that's why you think it's the one.
Yeah.
But trust me, you'll get a little bit older and a little bit wiser, and you'll be like, "Where's my cocoa?
Yeah, exactly. And
What am I watching on telly?"
And that's the point, isn't it? It's like, well, in 20 years' time, or even 5 years' time, they're not going to still look like this. They're not still going to look all this amazing and,
Looks fade.
Looks fade.
Passion perishes, and love
endures.
Love will endure.
Exactly.
And that's what you want from your soul partner. A love to call your own. And it's out there for every single one of you listening or watching. You have a love to call your own, and it's out there. They are out there. He is out there. She is out there. They is out there. Whatever you want to call it. The sheep is out there. I don't know what you're into, but it's out there waiting for you as much as you're waiting for them. You just have to find them. But a twin flame, that's not going to get you there any quicker.
No.
Get rid.
Yeah.
Move
Be
along.
strong
Move
enough
along. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, be strong enough to go now.
Yeah. Love yourself enough.
Not to put yourself through it.
Absolutely.
So we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please do leave us some comments. Let us know your thoughts. Our email address
Yeah, tell us how much you hate us.
is quest.thesearchfortruth@gmail.com. We've got the Facebook, the Instagram, the podcast, the video, the blah, blah, blah.
You name it, we got it.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully you'll join us again next time.
Bye for now.